Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm the founder of Danielle and Doodles. You might know me for my doodles or my videos, but recently I wrote, produced, published, and promoted a Haggadah, the book that Jews use on Passover, and a second night Seder in less than 1 month. This is the story of how I did it, how my family and friends, new and old, helped, and the reaction. On the last day of February, my dad and I were in the car, and he had the idea that I make a Haggadah. And why don't you do an event too? He added. I knew it would be a lot of work since Passover was March 27th and 28th, but I was so excited. So I posted in my neighborhood Buy Nothing Facebook group, borrowed some Haggadahs for research, and got started. Then I reached out to Alice. She's an artist who I met on Instagram in December to see if she would help me with this crazy project and do some of the illustrations. We had worked together before on other Jewish cartoons, so I knew she'd be the perfect person to ask. Then I got to writing. It came together really quickly. I knew that I wanted it to be funny and relevant with jokes about the pandemic, but also easy to follow and simple and have all of the traditions of the Seder. My dad had already named the Haggadah Don't Fuhaggadahboudit about it, so I knew that I needed to make the story based in New York, which added another layer of humor. Once I was done writing, I sent the copy to a copy editor who I used to work with at my old job. While she was editing, I made a list of all the illustrations that we needed and split them up between Alice and myself. I started sketching and drawing and coloring and scanning, and it all came together. Here are some of my images, and here's some of Alice's. The matzah with the blanket was an idea, and I could not draw it myself, and Alice brought it to life. Then I started designing the PDF on Canva, or the ebook, and it started pink. It ended up looking like this. I was very happy with it. Then I did a final print to do a final proof, and once that was done, I got it up on my Etsy shop, and then with the help of someone who works at Wix, where I host my site, I got an e-commerce site up and put the Haggadah there too. Then I got out of the city. I went upstate to Saratoga with one of my best friends, Alex. You know that I brought my whole setup, including my printer. While I was there, I realized that I should make a print option, so I found a local printer and I got 100 booklets. It looked great. Then I got bubble mailers and started working on my orders. I went to the post office a lot. Meanwhile, Alice, my drawing partner, is French, so she translated the whole Haggadah into French, and I designed it and got it up online. I also connected with Maya, who was a soldier on my birthright trip in Israel, and she very carefully translated the Haggadah into Hebrew, and I designed that too. It was hard because Hebrew is right to left and Canva is left to right, but I got it done and I got it online and it looked great. Once I got all the languages up online, it was time to promote. Trying to promote to the Israeli New Yorkers. I think this says Yisraelim bin New York Hak Vets. Okay, I don't know what the rest mean. Then I messaged the Jewish rapper Kosha Dilz on Instagram to see if he needed any Haggadahs. He was posting a lot about Passover. He actually responded. He said he'd like some, so my sister and I brought some over, and he used them for his second night Seder, which we attended, and I ended up rapping at.
I made a Haggadah. It's got a lot of words about a holiday. Everybody read it. Sent him a DM. He was like, what's up?
Then with the help of my friend Kara, who's amazing at PR, I wrote a press release. I had different versions for media all over the country and all over the world, and I sent it out. It was a lot of work to reach everyone, so I even hired my younger sister, Lexi, who made some phone calls, did some follow-up emails, and reached out to Facebook groups. She got me shared by the Jewish Museum in Montreal and some other groups, and she also got me on TV. Here is my setup for my Zoom interview, and here it is on News 12.
Don't Forget About It is a Passover-themed guide filled with New York City-inspired jokes and pandemic puns to illustrate the Passover story. Danielle Brody says her dad actually came up with the name that's a play on the word Haggadah, which is the text recited at the Seder on the first 2 nights of Jewish Passover. Brody says she was inspired to make something easy to follow for someone hosting their own Seder after struggling to read Hebrew last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to like remind people how far we've come, which is also sort of the story of Passover, but also another theme that I've been seeing come up in the Seders that I've been going to the past few years is there's a theme of like there's still work to do.
And You can get this Haggadah in English, French, and Hebrew. Just head over to news12.com, click on numbers and links, and we will tell you exactly where you can buy it.
Through a connection at my hometown newspaper, the Scarsdale Inquirer, I was featured in a story about my Haggadah. My sister took that picture. Thank you, Julia. It was so good. It came out on Friday, which was the day before Passover started Saturday. So I offered to deliver customers Haggadahs to their home. I don't live in Westchester anymore, so I teamed up with my dad, who drove me around and helped me make these deliveries to customers and find this newspaper. So watch our adventure. My dad and I are leaving Brooklyn. I have the rest of the Haggadahs in the back of the car. We're going to Westchester. So I have 3 deliveries to do there. Did someone here order a Haggadah? Chag Sameach! 2 orders. I needed food. I got a bagel and water. Still. And there's my dad. We're on the search for the Scarsdale Inquirer. Okay. All right. We split up. I was getting the bagel. He checked Starbucks. We don't need to dance. Thank you. And I just have one more delivery. A cousin to see. A friend. Another friend. It's busy. Chag Sameach. So I accidentally gave my books away for free. And it was kind of my fault because I didn't really explain well. And now my dad is talking to the guy and maybe getting the books back or maybe getting money. And it's really very stressful for me. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have a panic attack. It's time to go home to New York City. It's time to go back to Brooklyn. And
you can make a mistake. There can be a miscommunication, but business is business, and there comes a time, no matter how awkward, how embarrassing, you got to bite the bullet and ask for the money. You've got to learn that lesson over and over again.
Thanks, Dad. At the end of the day, we came home to do our own Seder for Passover in my backyard with my sister, my dad, and my grandma. And at the Seder, I practiced for my virtual public Seder that I was hosting the next night. The second night Seder I hosted was open to the community and free, and it took place on Zoom. About 50 people joined throughout the night. It was successful despite a couple of technical difficulties, but that's Zoom for you.
Dad literally had a video of me playing on a loop. And he's like, what is that? It's another conversation. I was like, it's me. Get it off. Okay, we're going back. Oh yeah, there's too many people in this apartment.
I used my Haggadah for the Seder with some slides that I created, and comedians Gabby Glazer and Freddie G helped, along with singer Marnie Loffman, and my sister Julia helped find all the talent. So thank you, Julia.
Very brave of you, Danielle, to take on the task of making your own Haggadah. Maxwell House will be pissed. Yeah, they're going to send guys that are going to break up this Zoom.
And if we were all here, we would share this matzah.
You could send the other piece to Dr. Fauci. He looks like he could eat something.
Ilu hotzianu mi mitzrayim, hotzianu mi mitzrayim dayenu.
And special thanks to my dad, who played the role of Pharaoh in a Yiddish accent, but it worked.
Where were you all this time, Brooklyn?
No, upstate. But I'm here with an urgent message. God called me and said you need to free the Jews, or bad things will happen.
Was it a retreat? What drugs did you take? When's the last time you showered?
I love seeing the reaction to this Haggadah. It was better and more far-reaching than I ever could have even imagined. Some of the feedback was, we couldn't stop laughing while reading it during Passover. It was so funny. It was a great and such a refreshing version. It's hilarious and also gives some extra meaning, which is wonderful because I often find I need something more relevant. We loved it. So funny and creative. I loved the Haggadah and was able to share it with my family during the Seder. I'm happy that it reached people from all religious backgrounds, from very religious to not even Jewish, and people of all ages.
The pictures make it so easy to understand. You know, there are a lot of adults who don't know from borscht about this. They just do what everybody else does. But I just think this is a marvelous book.
As you can see, my grandmother loved the Haggadah, and when I went over to visit her at her senior living community, she showed it off to everyone, and they ended up buying about 10 for the community Seder, which apparently everyone loved, even though only a couple of the people who live there are Jewish. And it's called The Watermark, and they did a write-up in their monthly newsletter, which was so sweet.
I just need to fly down now because Project Passover was really rewarding and amazing, and I met a lot of new people, but very exhausting.
Remember seeing Potter. Shout out to Danielle who got a really lit Haggadah. Run up on your shit like Buster Blocker. Kosha Dilz a microphone. Make noise cause you gotta.
Thank you so much for the support. I can't wait to do this again next Passover, and normally we say next year in Jerusalem, but I'm hoping next year in person.